I'm going to give a bit of praise to Lopetegui here because this happens in football a lot, Nat. Okay, last week we were at Brentford versus West Ham.
Yep.
Mohamed Kudus got dragged at half time. Okay, didn't play well, got dragged.
Yep.
But the manager has put him back in the lineup for the next game.
I think they were unchanged, weren't they, from that draw?
But, you know, when you're getting dragged at half time, it's very likely you ain't going to be playing the next game. A manager can get frustrated, like you didn't do the things he'd asked you to do for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I've been critical of his, I've criticised him for the performance against Chelsea where West Ham got totally their setup of their team wrong. So you criticise. But you've got to give manager praise here because he's picked Kudus and also he's had the issue of dealing with Jared Bowen, who had been left out of the England squad.
Yeah.
And fair credit to Bowen. Probably had his best game so far this season yesterday because, okay, it might have upset him and I'm sure it probably would have that he got left out of the England squad. But proving a point, showing what he can still do, not sulk, putting a performance that we know Jared Bowen is capable of. And I thought that was a big reflection yesterday of their win against Ipswich 4-1.
Yeah. They were great, West Ham. I guess helped a little bit by the openness of Ipswich at the back. And again, we've spoken about teams sometimes playing out when they really don't need to do it, and they should sometimes consider going long or just not make those passes out from the back that you know could lead to trouble. And Ipswich did put themselves in trouble a few times.
Yeah, and I praise them for doing really well in getting some really valiant draws so far this season.
The Brighton game,
the Brighton game, absolutely brilliant on the day because Brighton were a problem, and you could see that they were coming from all different angles at Ipswich, and they handled it. They suffered, but they got something out of the game. And yesterday it was the complete reverse. They were a lot more easier to play against, and I'm sure Kieran McKenna will look at that game as a bit of an eye-opener to him of where Ipswich were in this game.
Yeah, he called it a poor, strange performance by his team. I suppose one positive is the form of Liam Delap. He has been brilliant for Ipswich and scored the equaliser early on, conceding so early as they did in the first minute. They got themselves into the game in the 6th minute through Delap for his 4th of the season. Yeah, he's really taken to life in the Premier League, Delap.
He's better than his dad.
Oh,
sorry.
Slightly different players, perhaps.
No, I'm just.
But he's a very direct forward.
No, he is. He's exactly that. He reminds me of the lad who played at Sheffield Wednesday, the forward. Oh, what was his name? His son's a player as well now. I can't remember his name. It's gone. But he was a bit of a. He was quite a straightforward. You know, use his pace and his strength. Oh, he's well known at Sheffield Wednesday. But he's gone. The name's gone from me. Someone will message in. But his son's a player as well. You can't think of it again. His son's at Ipswich.
Son's at Ipswich. Oh, this is fun, isn't it?
Oh, his son's at Ipswich.
What a fun game that we're playing.
I can't remember.
Morning.
Yeah, think of the player. But anyway, just that directness and just being upper body strength, use his power, and he's a bit of a throwback, Liam Delap. In the way he plays, which is with...
Is it Hurst?
Yes.
I was thinking Hurst as well.
Not Jeff.
Well done. Whoever got that Hurst, in our room there.
Who was very much like that? Because his son, isn't he? Hurst's son is
he is a player, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm trying to see if he's still at George Hurst.
George
Indeed.
Hurst, that's it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it's all coming together this Sunday morning.
What a bad section this is. But anyway, we'll get there.
It's off the cuff though. See, it's not pre-prepared.
Yeah, I know. I like his rawness, and he also feels like a forward to me, Liam Delap, that really wants to prove his Premier League level.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't get phased. He's got great upper body strength, and he wants to battle away. He's got a bit of an eye of a goal. I think he's settled into the Premier League really, really well.
And you mentioned about Jared Bowen, of course. It had been a tricky start for West Ham, especially with Lopetegui obviously now involved and the change that he's trying to implement at West Ham after the David Moyes era. Yeah. Important for him to get off to score in that game yesterday and just to put in a really solid performance, especially when they've got, after this international break, Spurs away, Manchester United at home, Forest away. Some really tricky games coming up.
Yeah. And they hadn't started the season well, West Ham. We watched them last week. I saw them in the opening game of the season at Aston Villa at the London Stadium. Didn't think they were good. And yes, they've made a number of signings, and you could argue that, they haven't quite settled in. Obviously, some of them are injured as well, which hasn't helped. They're still turning to Mikel Antonio. He gets a goal yesterday. Fair play to him. There's a lot of things. The biggest disappointment of all has been Paquetá's form, because he is really talented. And he's not got going. Okay, got on the score sheet yesterday, but he hasn't got going.
No. And another player that was taken off in that Brentford game that you mentioned, and he did not look happy at all. So, yes, and another player. That's obviously, can we put that down to the fact it's a new manager, so he's learning, they're still learning off each other how Lopetegui can get the best out of Paquetá, how Paquetá works with Lopetegui. Is that something to consider? When
you play with talented lads, Paquetá and obviously Kudus, that can do things on their own, they're individual brilliant, technically wise, but sometimes it can unsettle the apple cart. It can just the team, if it doesn't get going and people look round who's picking up him and who's doing what, are they giving enough effort in the team? Because West Ham, even the biggest talented players, if their work rate's exceptional, that adds even more to the team. Forget about their technical ability.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.